Hey, today I'm going to be talking about how to have a successful music release, so let's get into it. Writing music. Writing music is obviously the most important part of releasing something because it's what you're releasing, it's what you're distributing, and it's what you're marketing. So writing the music for myself as a guitarist is obviously a lengthy process, and I'm sure many of you who are musicians and any of you who are thinking about writing music would understand this. The important part to remember, and I know that my partner Daniel Pinto touched on this, you don't have to be good at everything, and a lot of that means that getting studio musicians to do parts that you're probably not the best at. For me, for instance, I'm not a drummer. I don't have an amazing grasp of drumming concepts, enough to write demos but not enough to be in a final song. So production is pretty much once after you've written the music, after you've tracked it all, after it's tightly recorded, start to bottom, you can listen all the way through. This is about mixing and mastering. Mixing is probably the most important aspect of the production cycle because you want your music to sound good. I encourage you to not think about fans and not think about other people when doing this. I know that sounds selfish, but if you enjoy it and you like it, then that's the most important thing because you're going to be putting something out that you're proud of. So picking a good mix engineer is probably a hard task. I know Myoora has cycled through a few. We've had Adam Bentley, we've had Simon Grove, and we've had Forrester Seville, and all of them have done amazing jobs. And sometimes your music will serve a particular person who has done other releases that sound like it. Sometimes your music isn't suited to another person, and that's okay too. You need to be willing to make the hard calls and put a dedicated budget towards mixing, because mixing is fundamental to having any good music really hit the market hard. And mastering, which is also another part of that, we've had Erman Haminovic, who has done mastering for Moon Grotto and who will be doing mastering for our upcoming releases this year. He's amazing at his job, and if you get a quality mastering engineer, it just adds that final touch onto your music that just makes it that much more special. Now, marketing and distribution. Now, for distribution, when you're releasing your music, really simple, something like TuneCore or DistroKid. We use DistroKid, loves it, I love it. Like, I get all the statistics, I get all the data, and I love looking at that, and it's particularly useful for artists later in their careers when you can reference that kind of data when planning tours, planning shows, seeing where your fan base is strongest, where it's weakest. That's brilliant. But in terms of your first release and your earliest release, it's really, really good to bring someone on for marketing, and at the very, very least, do some learning yourself, because marketing is a complex procedure. We've been lucky enough to work with Carl Karich, who also works with Rev, who is an amazing team, amazing amps. You should definitely check them out. Taking up any opportunity you can to market your band, such as NAMM or any music show, is also an invaluable experience. But in terms of solely the release, having a dedicated marketing budget is brilliant because it allows you to run ads, it allows you to push your music to certain demographics, it allows you to really boost in that release week. And you kind of work in cycles, so you work in a pre-release cycle, a release cycle, and post-release cycle to build up fans before the music and after the music. So it's really important you invest some time, invest some research. I know for Myoora, one thing I tend to do is create a list of all the press outlets that I want to reach out to. I create a list of all the playlists I want to pitch to, and every single time I've done that, it's been really successful for us, and it's allowed us to grab a couple thousand fans each release, and our fan base grows every time we release music, and we're very fortunate and very lucky that that seems to be happening to us. But I guess a good way to put it is everything you put in, you will get something back. It might not always be a 1-to-1 ratio, but you will get something back. The more work, the more effort, the more time, and I guess the more money you put into it. So dedicating good time to marketing and good time to understanding your distribution statistics is really important. This is just something extra, but if your band is really wanting to take this seriously and you want to try and be able to pay for your expenses for the next release after you've released some music, doing merch is a good way to get back some income. We do, when we do an EP, we do shirts and we do CDs, and this is always a pretty decent way of us, getting back a couple of grand every time we do a release. You don't have to do huge batches, and you don't have to sell them at ridiculous prices either. Sell them at reasonable prices, find a good place that'll do the merch. We're in Australia, so we have Implant Media and Sound Merch that do all the merch that we sell. And they do a really quality job, and when you have quality products, people are going to see that, going to do that. And investing some time and some money into some art is also really important. We have Alex Pryle, who does our art. He also does art for Pliny, which is where you've most likely heard him. He does an amazing job with our artwork, and really I've always thought as art as being the first contact a fan has to your release. If it catches their eye, they'll be more likely to actually click play. So for us, it's always really important to have art, and the merch just provides not what we're here for, but it provides a little bit of money to help us when releasing new music, so we can continue to do so. So hopefully these tips have been helpful for you. If you have any questions below, feel free to ask them. We'll be replying, no issues. Thanks guys.